яка називається UA Time, яка буде виходити на Першому національному. Я запрошую до слова співведучого цієї програми Олів'є Ведріна, який є європейським експертом, а також Сергія Величанського, які вдвох вестимуть цю програму.
Thank you. I am very happy to be there again and to present with my friend Sергій Величанський our TV broadcast for First Ukraine. The title is UA Time, and the goal is to present Ukraine to the rest of the world in English. And as you know, First Ukraine is a satellite TV channel, and we will provide our program to 30 countries all around the world in English. Then please see this small presentation of our broadcast.
Welcome to UAT Time with Oliv'є Vedrін
and Sергій Величанський. Today we'll talk about the EU-Ukraine association opportunities and how it will influence the Ukrainian civil society and economy in general.
The latest 2 years events started back when a former president of Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych, refused to sign the EU-Ukraine Association Agreement, which led to what we now know as Maidan and with other consequences. And since the association is signed by the new president, Petro Poroshenko, and is set to come into force on January 1st of 2016, there are many questions about this.
You have the civil society because of Maidan. You have the universities, you have the experts, you have the will.
As we all know, the ongoing conflict with Russia has added a sense of urgency to the process of expanding into EU markets.
I met a lot of businessmen in Ukraine. They really do not know what is in this agreement, and they want to go to the EU market, but they don't know how to go to the EU market.
It becomes really interesting because as a typical Ukrainian, as I hear that a European Union is ready to give, 400 million or something help or whatever, what's the numbers are?
We talk about, for all the program, yeah?
Yes.
About 11 billion.
11 billion.
Mm.
You see, when we hear the sums like this, the numbers like this...
But you have also to add the World Bank,
yes.
The EMF, and that's
sure.
around 30, 35 billion. Yeah?
Well, that's quite a help.
Mm-hmm. We are doing like an exchange. Money reforms. Money reforms.
Mm-hmm.
We will give money, you will do reforms. And the first reform is fight against corruption. You have to increase your quality norms. Because really, the Soviet norms is really inefficient. See the difference between Lada and Mercedes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have Soviet norms, Zhiguli, and you have the EU norms, Mercedes.
Lobbying. Yeah.
In EU is not like lobbying in Ukraine. In EU, lobbying is really a process of influence. We have to explain more. Explain to the Ukrainian businessman and explain to the European businessman. Because really, when you see some European businessmen and when you talk about Ukraine to some European businessmen, this is like terra incognita,
Yeah.
They understand nothing about Ukraine mentality, This is, wow, you have to explain everything.
And I think that's why our show is gonna work.
Yeah.
That's why
we have to explain Ukraine to the rest of the world. What really happened in Ukraine and the real Ukraine.
And I believe that's what we're going to do. There are many issues, tons of issues that we will discuss. Thank you for being with us. It was UAT Time with Oliv'є Vedrін
and Sергій Величанський. Stay with us and we will show you the real Ukraine.
Have a good day and see you soon.
This is more than 3 minutes of part of the first issue of our broadcast, UET time. As you know, the European Union now has to face very important Putin propaganda. And now in Europe, as during the Soviet Union, Russia is using some useful idiots. And I think, and this is also what Brussels thinks, we have to do a strategy of communication, not European propaganda, but only to present the fact. We do not need to lie, we do not need to manipulate, we need only to present the fact. And we need to show the real Ukraine to the rest of the world. That's why, with my friend Sергій Величанський, we are co-anchors of this new analytical talk show, UET Time. All the issue of Ukraine and European Union and the West will be covered in some interviews, discussions, and arguments. Our slogan is, show the real Ukraine to the rest of the world. Like the strategy of the European Union, we want to underline the fact, only the fact, only the fact. We speak in English every week during 25 minutes on First Ukraine. First Ukraine is an international satellite TV channel launched by the National Television Company of Ukraine on the 1st September 2012. This TV channel is available at more than 30 countries all around the world. In our program, we can invite, and we will invite, some guests to discuss about subjects in relation with Ukraine, Europe, EU, Russia, and international relation, in economy, in politics, in culture, etc. To fight the Putin's propaganda, we have to present in media, we have to be present in media, and that's what we are doing, in social networks. I repeat, we have to communicate on the facts, and only on the facts. We have to be present, explain and defend our values. We have to do a pedagogy based on simple examples of the life in the European Union and in Russia, to do the difference, to show what is going on. We have also to manage the argument of Putin propaganda with irony and humor, to underline the stupidity of this propaganda. We have to ask simply questions like, why a Russian politician or businessman, when he is rich, live in the European Union, for example in the Côte d'Azur? Why Russians send their children to EU and US universities? Maybe they don't like Russia, they are building a fifth column and training some foreign agents in their own families. Let's talk about some Russian government paradox also. That will be also a part of our program, to have a lot of humor and irony, you know. But the first issue is to talk about Ukraine. Because if we talk only about what's happened in this propaganda, that will be only a part of the job. But if we want to do our job, we have to talk about Ukraine, and we have to show the real Ukraine to the rest of the world. In UET time, excuse me, I am an EU activist. In UET time, we will discuss at first about Ukraine. We will invite guests to discuss about the reforms, education, press freedom, finance, economy, Autozona, the war, the fight against corruption. Those subjects are only some examples. We will not be in a defense attitude. We don't have to be afraid. But we will be offensive, proactive, and optimistic. And always with a sense of humor. Our auditors need real informations, not only a counter-propaganda arguments. We want to give to them the best information about Ukraine. We want to show the real Ukraine to the rest of the world. Thank you very much. I am waiting a question. With my friend Сергій Величанський.
Шановні колеги, отже, будь ласка, у кого є запитання чи уточнення щодо сказаного?
I'm Nicolas. I want to ask you what is different between your show and what we can see now in Ukrainian channel, for example.
Ну, во-первых, ну, я буду на русском отвечать. Или будет понятно, или перевести, или на английском ответить лучше, да?
Краще англійською.
Да. Well, first of all, the first Ukraine channel is a satellite channel. You can actually see it here as well in Ukraine if you go to that channel on the satellite list of all the channels. But secondly, it is a purposefully English version. The audience is Europe and the rest of the world, because there are many Ukrainian channels that are good enough, you know, discussing different issues. So that was the primary idea, that Europe and the rest of the world really doesn't know Ukraine. So that's the idea, to, you know, target them.
And I want to add also that maybe this is because I spent some years in USA and in Canada, but I want this broadcast to be very active and not, you know, like classic one. And we have to say the truth. We have to be like sense of humor. And really, we are not here to do to be diplomat. No diplomat. If something is wrong, we have to say that something is wrong. If something is okay, we have to say. But please, our broadcast, for me, is like, you know, there's a US TV show, you know. Very active, and if something is wrong, no problem, no diplomacy. Then I think that will be the big difference, the true, and the true.
Шановні колеги, чи є ще у когось запитання? Якщо немає, тоді ми побажаємо нашим колегам успіху, щоб все було добре з цією програмою. На цьому наш робочий день завершено. Дякую.
Дякую.
Merci beaucoup.